The chilling story of Linda Harper, a case of love, lies, and murder, has haunted the small community of Maplewood Lane for nearly 2 decades. What happened to Linda Harper? How did her sudden disappearance shatter her daughter Emma's life and unravel the quiet neighborhood that once seemed so peaceful? And how did the truth, buried deep in time, finally come to light? For years, Linda's case remained a mystery. Her husband, Greg, told the police that she had simply walked away, leaving behind nothing but a vague note and a shattered family. But appearances, as they often are, were deceiving. Behind closed doors, the Harper home was far from the picture-perfect family it appeared to be. A story of control, fear, and manipulation was hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. Join us as we take you inside the house on Maplewood Lane. Love, lies, and murder. Greg Harper grew up in a small town in Michigan, the eldest of 3 children in a strict household. His father was a disciplinarian, his mother a devout homemaker. From an early age, Greg learned the importance of appearances. He was a golden boy in high school, captain of the football team, prom king, and every teacher's favorite student. But beneath the charming exterior was a young man who thrived on control. Linda Daniels, on the other hand, was the free-spirited girl-next-door type. Raised in a loving, if chaotic, home, she was known for her kindness and artistic talent. She loved painting, poetry, and the dream of one day leaving their small town for the city. Greg and Linda met during their senior year of high school. She was the artist decorating the sets for the school play, and he was the star quarterback, set to graduate with honors. Their romance seemed straight out of a fairy tale. He courted her with grand gestures, flowers, love letters, and moonlit walks. Linda's friends warned her about Greg's controlling tendencies, but she dismissed them. "He just loves me so much," she'd say with a dreamy smile. After graduation, Greg pursued a degree in business, while Linda attended art school. They married young at just 22 and settled in Portland, Oregon, where Greg had landed a lucrative job in insurance sales. At first, their life was idyllic. They bought the house on Maplewood Lane, and Linda poured her energy into transforming it into a home filled with warmth and creativity. But cracks began to show early on. Greg's need for control extended into their marriage. He criticized Linda's art, monitored her friendships, and insisted on handling their finances. Over time, Linda became more reserved, her laughter less frequent. When Emma was born, Linda hoped the baby would bring them closer, but instead, Greg's behavior worsened. By the time Emma was 10, the Harper household was a battleground. Greg's temper was explosive, his charm a distant memory. He insisted on perfection, from Linda, from Emma, and from their image as a family. Linda, once vibrant and strong-willed, was now a shadow of herself, retreating into her art studio whenever possible. Emma bore the brunt of the tension. She grew up walking on eggshells, torn between her love for her mother and fear of her father. Her diary, later discovered by police, revealed years of emotional and physical abuse within the family. At school, Emma struggled to fit in. Her classmates saw her as odd, always keeping to herself, avoiding eye contact, and turning in elaborate art projects that hinted at her troubled home life. Teachers noticed her withdrawn nature, but attributed it to shyness. On the night of November 15, 2005, neighbors reported hearing raised voices from the Harper home. This wasn't unusual, but what followed was Linda vanished. Greg told police they'd had an argument, and she left to clear her head. He even produced a hastily written note, supposedly from Linda, saying she needed space. The police questioned Greg, but found no evidence of foul play. With Linda's car still in the driveway and no activity on her credit cards, speculation swirled, but the case went cold. Over the next 2 years, Greg seemed unbothered. He sold the house on Maplewood Lane and moved to a condo, taking Emma with him. Neighbors whispered about his quick recovery and frequent outings with new women, but without evidence, no charges could be filed. Emma, however, struggled. As a teenager, she grew increasingly withdrawn, haunted by nightmares of her mother and the lingering suspicion that her father was responsible. In 2025, a young couple, Sarah and Michael Lewis, purchased the old Harper house. During a renovation project, workers dismantling the basement discovered a hidden room behind a false wall. Inside, they found Linda Harper's remains, wrapped in plastic and buried beneath layers of drywall and insulation. The news shook the neighborhood. Detectives reopened the case, this time armed with advanced forensic technology. DNA evidence confirmed Linda had been killed in the basement. Her blood spattered on the walls and floor beneath the original paint. Emma, now in her 30s, was interviewed by police. Reluctantly, she shared her childhood diary, which detailed Greg's violent outbursts and Linda's growing fear of him. Investigators also uncovered financial records showing Greg had cashed out Linda's life insurance policy shortly after her disappearance. The trial was a media circus. Greg maintained his innocence, claiming Linda's death was an accident. She had fallen during an argument, he insisted, and in a panic, he hit her body. But the evidence painted a different picture. Linda had been struck with a blunt object, and the false wall had been meticulously constructed to conceal her remains. Emma's testimony was the final nail in Greg's coffin. Tearfully, she recounted years of abuse and manipulation, admitting she had long suspected her father's role in her mother's disappearance. The jury took just 3 hours to convict Greg Harper of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life without parole, his charm and facade finally stripped away. The Harper house was sold again, but its dark past lingered. For Emma, the conviction brought closure but not peace. She vowed to use her story to help others trapped in abusive relationships, turning her pain into purpose. For the rest of Maplewood Lane, the discovery was a sobering reminder that darkness can lurk in the most ordinary places. And as the house stood silent once more, one question remained. How many other secrets lie hidden, waiting to be uncovered? As the courtroom emptied and Greg Harper was led away in handcuffs, a heavy silence fell over those who had witnessed the trial. It wasn't just a story of murder. It was a story of control, fear, and the cracks hidden beneath a seemingly perfect life. For years, the Harper house had stood as just another home on Maplewood Lane. But within its walls, a family's darkest secrets festered. Linda Harper's life was stolen by the man who had once sworn to love her, and her daughter Emma spent decades grappling with the haunting weight of silence. Emma's courage in speaking out, even years later, became a powerful reminder of the importance of breaking cycles of abuse. Her testimony helped uncover the truth and finally give her mother the justice she deserved. But this story leaves us with a lingering question. How many other stories like this remain untold? How many other secrets lie hidden, waiting for time or fate to bring them to light? Thank you for watching this episode. If you or someone you know is in an abusive situation, remember that help is out there. Speak out, reach out, and know that your voice matters. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and remember, what's hidden in the dark always comes to light.